There are multiple versions of backstop. So the fundamental version is called backstop NT texture. Texture must be used to treat the joints, and if you're going to use the smooth or the spray, then you're going to have to spot every fastener. If you trowel apply after you treat the joints, you don't have to spot the fasteners. Now, if the fastener is reading through after you troweled it, then you would have to spot it. So the fundamental start, let's see, where's that? I'll just dip it out if I don't see it. There it is. Is with the texture. Again, it's a trowel applied viscosity. It's thicker. And so it's intended to treat the joints. And all you got to do is pre-position the grid tape and just fill that. Okay? If we're going to use the smooth or the spray, you've got to come through and spot all the fasteners that may exist. Okay? You've got to pre-spot them. Before you move on to the next step, you have to be able to walk up, take your thumb, and if you can move it and it's on your thumb, you're not ready to move on to the next step. So generally what typically happens, you start spotting fasteners, treating joints. In about 2 hours, you can, still wet, but you can twist your thumb and you're ready to move forward from there. Recognizing that's the case, if I'm going to use texture over everything, I don't have to spot the fasteners, treat the joints. Once basically they've set up, then all I basically have to do and you're done. Huh? You say you want to try it? He's impressed. But the key is what you're going to find. Well, why do we have multiple options? Not every project's the same. Is it summertime? Is it winter? Are you in a tent enclosure? Recognize if you've got trowel skills, most firms that have got trowel skills, they don't spot fasteners. Treat the joints and trowel and you're done, one coat. Okay? If we have a large project that's not downtown and our skills with some of the manpower that we're using don't have the trowel skills, then we can actually go through, treat the joint, spot the fasteners, and spray over the entire wall surface. Now here's the key. Most people think, well, as soon as you walk on the job, you need to be spraying. No, it's a big mistake. You need to have enough area so when I start spraying, I don't stop. If you have to shut that gun off, there's no productivity gain. You think in terms of what we call craft time. What's craft time? Craft time is basically every time I touch that trowel to the wall, that's craft time. So in other words, if I spend 50% of my time carrying buckets to the place that I'm going to work, and I'm not actually touching the wall, that's not the goal. The goal is to be on that wall, touching it as many times during that work period so you get more done. Okay? So the nice thing about spraying, so in other words, I'm working with Al, I may go for 2 days just treating joints and spotting fasteners. And one day, he sprays it all. One person. Huge productivity gain. However, if I'm working downtown, and just think of the material with the wind blowing, cars. So Al and I were involved with a Reflect-It project in Pittsburgh. Literally, the scaffold is sitting here, and the parking lot is here, right at the edge of the scaffold. No tent enclosure. Guys, we're not spraying. Oh, no, no, you're not spraying. They would have painted every car in the parking lot. Okay? A little bit of common sense goes a long way, but the reason why we have different variations, if you've got that project with a lot of large walls, I can go through and spot those fasteners. Then Al can come back with an airless, with the backstop spray. Are you grabbing that sheetrock and then put it to the... Okay. Let me set this over here.
Is
So
that
which
not
is the-
sick or what?
So which is the right fit? It's project specific. Now let's say, as Al mentioned during his presentation, let's say that someone's never done any of these, but they can take a paint roller, treat the joints, spot fasteners, roll 2 coats. Now the one thing that I would caution you with any manufacturer's material, you've got a fiberglass matte face sheathing. It's got a lot of suction to it. When you dip that roller into the smooth and you take it to the wall, you know how I was troweling from there to there? When you roll, you might get this and then you have to reload. So look at your craft time. If I'm rolling, I'm spending 50% of my craft time dipping, 50% on the wall. When Al starts spraying, 100% of the craft time is spraying material. The only thing that's going to slow him down is just changing to the next pail. If I'm troweling, guess what? 100% of the time. But the key is that if we're going to spray, we have to be on a project where we can cover, we can control it, or we're out in the country someplace where the overspray is not going to affect every other guy on the job's car or truck. Okay? So you've got a wide array of options. So if you typically spray and you're a waterproofing contractor, good fit. That's what you do every day. If you're a plaster and you want to trial apply, I can show you by the time that you get set up, I'm going to be way ahead and already have it done. So a lot of the skilled plastering firms, that's what they do.
You can't hand apply it this fast.
Okay?
And I'm a big hand applying guy. You just can't hand apply it this fast. Equal.
The key is it's job specific, and that's why we have multiple options. It's just like Rapid Dry 3550, 5075. Take a day like today. Somebody said it earlier. Well, we're out there working, but here's what happens at night when the temperature of the sun goes down, the temperature drops and gets cold again. If you take the Rapid Dry 3550, we could stick the foam, rasp it in the same work period. As long as you quit by 3:30 or so, the base coat and mesh will dry before it freezes. You can't work up till dark, but with a little common sense, that'll do that. Yes? That's the other thing. That's where the skill comes in. So just like when Al went through, notice rather than trying to apply it in one coat, what do you do? Thin coats. Okay? If you take the same material and I try to, and there's millage gauges that we'll share with you and that sort of thing, so you dip it in and you see what your millage is. And okay? The important part is that everybody thinks that you're trying to paint it. You're already delivering the material. Well, wait a minute. Well, no. Thin coats. Cross hatch it. And you'll move right along. You can use the millage gauge, but it's real simple. Can you tell that the sheathing's covered? It's covered. Just thin coats. So
7,000 square feet a day with this.
I'll put it back in.
That's a lot of square footage.
But if you can do 6 or 1,000 square feet, would you set up this equipment to spray 250 square feet? Don't think so. It's not a good idea. But if you've got 7,000 square feet, once we got it ready, guess what? Spray it in one day.
You can hand this up to the guy above. This was on the ground, and everybody just keep on spraying.
Okay?
Because it doesn't have to look perfect. You know what I mean? This is just your air and moisture barrier.
So the key, to answer your question, skill set as you get into the person that's spraying, it's important that they have those skill sets, just like doing reflected or any of the other spray applied finishes. So that's what Drive It offers. When most of you guys have worked for Al for almost 30 years, maybe some of you longer, you get the resources that when you buy that pail of exactly the options that you have to apply it. If you're having challenges in the field, share those with us. We continue to look for other products to make your life easier. And Rapid Dry 3550 is an example of that. If you take the standard base coat on a day like today where it's 47 degrees and it's going to be 23 tonight, you run the risk of having efflorescence. Not with the Rapid Dry. So, I mean, those are the types of things that you're going to see from us. Look at the cost of the materials, as Al said. You look at the coverage. And so, they can play games with the mesh, 48-inch roll versus 38.5, utilizing a true Rapid Dry. The Rapid Dry not only sets in 30 minutes, it dries in that 4 hours. Look at your other fast set products. They set, but they don't dry. So if you've got questions, you've got a lot of available resources. Carmine, Al, Bob, myself, you've got questions, pick up the phone and give us a call. We're readily available. On a day like today, we're not as available because we're working with you. But when you need something, leave a message and we'll get back with you. So what else did we leave off? Anything that we didn't touch on? Anything that you would like to discuss?
Why private? Overall, why private? How do you pay? Coverage, warranty.
Several different things come to mind. Okay, the thing that you're typically going to see is we're always looking for new markets to utilize our products and systems. If you think in terms of what the current construction market is, and each one of you has experienced this, when you bid a project, what happens? They start the project late, but what about the completion date? Does it ever change? Never changes. Who's the last one to finish up on the project? You are. So you've got to make up that time. The important part in doing those kinds of things and being respectful, you have several different options of products. And why I say that Dryvit's different, the investment in new technology, ways that actually make you more productive. Actually, your 8 hours of invested time on that job results in more craft time versus messing around and only doing 50% of your time rolling versus what Al just showed you, covering 7,000 square feet in one 8-hour period. That's huge. Might not be the right fit for every project. Reflect it. Think in terms of your market. Has it become more competitive since 2008? Absolutely. I've discussed that with each of you. You have to recognize, much like drywall that replaced plaster, if you've truly been in the plastering business, I can remember the time when the older generation said that drywall will never last. It's the same way with the EIFS industry. New technology is going to continue to occur. Reflect it. Terraneo, limestone. You're going to see your market transition to new finishes. You can adapt to the change, or you can continue to play the public bid situation where it gets more competitive, you can't make any money, and ultimately work on a negotiated opportunity with one of these finishes. You've got to learn something new though. But why Dryvit is because the support is there. Not only do we have the product, we'll show you how to use it. Okay? Any other questions that anybody has?
Price-wise, the reflective, how competitive is it with the metal panels?
I'll speak from personal experience. There's a project called Allen Plaza in downtown Indianapolis. The Alucobond panels were $160 a square foot. Not installed, not delivered, no sealants, no flashing, that's just the panel. Our panels were installed for approximately $27 a square foot, everything included. Okay? So if you don't think that there's not opportunity there, every time that we talk with a design professional or a developer, they're very interested. The biggest challenge that we collectively face is the commitment on the contractor's part to learn the products. You can't go out and get a 35,000 square foot project and start with Reflect-It. Biggest mistake that we both could make. The ideal project is a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot project with flat walls that are no more than 5x5 panels. And so typically when I work with firms like yourself, that's the first thing that we want to target. We want to work through. That shows me what you understand, what we don't understand, and then collectively respond to that. Then work on the next one. Then once we start to get our legs under us on how we understand the exact steps, then we can do that 10,000 square foot project. It's the same thing with limestone or Terraneo. Guys, when you have something new, just because it's specified and you've never done it, don't take that project. Take the project that has a little smaller and try to identify one, and you'll come across one and do each of these materials and see where the learning curve is. Then make a decision in your own mind. The first question that I ask that firm after they've done a couple projects, do you want to continue? And I'm very serious about that. If you're not interested in getting over the learning curve, or if your guys aren't interested, then maybe it's not the right fit. And Reflect-It as an example of that. But if you get over the learning curve, The opportunity is tremendous. It's unbelievable. So just like the other, was it yesterday? I got a call on a 35,000 square foot reflected opportunity. Made 2 calls in Nashville, left with a 10-story and another project. It's not hard to get the conversion. The hard thing is getting the people that want to make the commitment to learn the products. To tell you how hard it is, 2 of our competitors won't even sell the product because of issues. They haven't walked through, as Al just demonstrated you, the right equipment, the right tips, the right settings on how to do it. We'll show you that. But you have to demonstrate on your behalf that you're willing to learn the products, and then if it's the right fit and you want to continue to do it, trust, there's more reflected out there than you'll ever want to do. But again, I view it as a negotiated opportunity. Yeah, is it $30? That sounds like a lot of money, but not in comparison to the $160. So, but it's more ornamental in nature. What other questions do you have about any of those? But trust, we're here to help. We're not here to say, hey, this is what we offer and leave and walk out the door. When you do one of those projects, you'll see someone like Al or I. Not because we want to dictate what goes on, we want to make sure that things go well and you're successful on that project. So.
Plus, we're an American-owned, American-made manufacturing facility. So when someone says to drive it's more money, you have to compare apples to apples. You have to compare coverages of our materials to coverages to theirs. Yeah, we may be more, but we probably offer more in the bucket. We may be more, but we probably have more square footage per yard on the roll. You just got to do your due diligence when you're bidding these jobs, and just as far as the coverages are real important.
All you have to do is look around in this room. Look at the commitment that Century has made. Not only in the materials, as Bob mentioned, Stratotone, as far as pigmentation, instead of waiting 2 weeks, it's readily available as soon as that you call and order materials. They've made a huge financial commitment to drive it into you. So you have to tell us how we can help you. Well, we appreciate the opportunity today, guys. Your attention and patience with us has been very appreciated. Al, you guys have anything that you guys want to finish up with? Carmine?
Everybody take a look. Must be present to win. Must be present to win. Everybody that left early, then we pull again. 939-9402.
Thanks, everyone.